Well, welcome to Richie's Roost in Shaco, Mississippi. I am not, as you can tell, in my outdoor studio as I usually am, because I'm telling you this past week, this week before Christmas, has been really cold in Shaco. We've been down in the single digits, and for this part of the country, that's brutal cold. Some of you guys up north take this as an everyday stride, but we're not used to it down here, and it's about to get back to semi-normal now. We're back out of the single digits at least. This is the week before Christmas, which we just had, and I hope you had a blessed one. We did. Christmas. This is the time between Christmas and New Year's. So I'm doing things a little differently because the wind is howling outside and my sound would be messed up. So I'm coming to you from my cave at Richie's Roost with a little bit of information today. It'll be sort of short today. A little information about a person most of you have seen many times, but may not have known about as much as I hope you will when we get through. Back in around the turn of the century in 1900s, a little boy, a black boy, grandson of slaves, was born in a poor neighborhood in New Orleans, in a section of town known as the back of town. So you can imagine what it was like. His father abandoned the family when this little boy was an infant, and his mother became a prostitute and handed him and his sister off to his grandmother, who was struggling to raise them. Early in his life, the little guy he proved to be gifted in music, and with three other little boys, they sang on the streets of New Orleans, and his first money were coins that were thrown to the little kids when they were singing on the streets. He used to pick the coins up and put them in his mouth to hold them so the bigger boys wouldn't know he had them. And this had bearing on his nickname later on, I understand. You'll understand why when we get there. With all these coins in his mouth. But it was a struggling existence, and he stayed hungry. But there was a Jewish family named Karnofsky who had immigrated from Lithuania in the USA, and they saw this little boy, and they had pity on him. He was 7 years old at the time, and they brought him home with him, giving him what they called work, which was actually just living in the house and doing chores, to feed him, clothing. And there he remained, and he slept in this Jewish family's home, where for the first time in his life, he was blessed with kindness and tenderness and wasn't hungry all the time. Well, when he went to bed, Miss Karnofsky would sing to him a Russian lullaby that he'd sing with her, and later learned to sing and play several Russian and Jewish songs. Now, over time, this boy became adopted, the adopted son of the family. They adopted him. And they gave him money to buy his first musical instrument, as was the custom in Jewish families in those days, I understand. And they sincerely admired his musical talent. They had a wagon that they sold stuff out of, and he would play this musical instrument so that it would attract a crowd around the wagon, which was good for everybody. But later, when he became a professional musician and composer, he used these Jewish melodies that he had learned in composing such compositions as St. James Infirmary and Go Down Moses. And the little black boy grew up and wrote a book about the Jewish family who had adopted him in 1907. In memory of this family, and until the end of his life, he wore the Star of David and said that in his family he had learned how to live real life and learn determination. Well, he's gone now. You can still hear a lot of his records, though. The little boy, when he was grown, was called Louis Satchmo Armstrong. The Satchmo was short for Satchel Mouth, which described that big wide grin he had and the number of coins he was able to hold in his mouth like it was a satchel. Well, he also proudly spoke fluent Yiddish, and I didn't know that. Anyway, that's just a little tidbit between holidays. We've got, I hope this weather does clear up by New Year's Day and we can get out of some of this freezing, frigid temperature. We hope you came through it okay too. And we hope you have a happy new year. And I'm Jim Ritchie, and I'll see you again next time.